Okay. This is another beautiful day again. We're so grateful to the Almighty God for allowing us to see this beautiful day. Let me put my headphone. I can enjoy myself with my headphone. Well, so today is another beautiful day. I'm so grateful to be here. I want to say good morning, good evening, good afternoon to all of my folks out there, depending on which part of the world you are. Today is Thursday, January 27, 2022. We are here again on our normal podcast. Like today, we started a little late because we had some other engagements. Uh, we made this commitment that we will live by. We will bring the news to our people. We will. We will also. We have also dedicated our time to at least be here Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. But first, I want to say thanks to all of those who have always followed us. And I want to say in this popular minor, I really do appreciate you people. I appreciate every time when I come on, you share this show for me. Please share this show because this could be some of the easier means of you getting your voices out there as well. We all know what's happening out there, and we don't need people to keep pushing these stories for us or keep pushing our agenda other than ourselves. Because remember, you are the author of your own book. So if you do not write your own story, nobody else gonna write your story for you. So I want to say thank you for always following us. So when you see up there today, if you're from Liberia or if you're from any part of the world, there's the breaking news that came up today. We're gonna read that breaking news as well. And over the time, there have been so many other breaking news. So we will talk about some of the breaking news as well. Talk about what is going on. Talk about how can we change the word together collectively. And I know it's hard. It's hard sometimes to see some of the stuff that is going on. But notwithstanding, we can do it. We can do it together collectively. This is not a one man issue. Though I volunteer my time, but it is you and I together collectively. We can change things. We can make things happen. So, in this popular manner, I want to say again, I truly appreciate your help. I truly appreciate your help, your effort for always getting involved. Always getting involved. Like talk about sensitive national issues. The Supreme Court have ordered former Defense Minister Brownie J. Samunga jail for failing to honor the mandate of the restitution. Those are breaking news coming from Liberia. And depending on which side the aisle you are, it's sad. You don't want to hear the kind of news, depending on your position. So before we go through that, we'll just hang on a little just for a few of our people to join us because I know some of our people they are up to date when it comes to information they are following. But yet instead there are some of our people who would own our information too. Because some of our people they are lawyer, they follow this podcast. And I really do appreciate them. Like I said, if you haven't gone to the page to subscribe yet, The page is Logan Hours. Then you could just go on YouTube. YouTube is also Logan Hours. So it's easy. The name hasn't changed. When you go to YouTube, just subscribe to Logan Hours. When you go to my Facebook page, it's also Logan Hours. So I want to say thank you for always joining us. We will get started shortly when we return after this short 5 seconds break. Already. Welcome. So, if you are just joining us, you are on the Logan's Hour. There are so many things to be talked about today. Trust me, man. There are so many things going on in Liberia and around the world. So we would just, you see, one thing I always say to myself, I always say this to other people. Whatever position you find yourself in, wherever side of the corner life may throw you, be careful. Be very, very careful. Sometimes your disgrace can turn into grace. And sometimes your grace can turn into disgrace. There are some of us, when God bless us, we don't affiliate with people. We don't do some other thing anymore. We feel that we are infallible. We have this power that keep us so supreme that we are untouchable. But you know, God always has a way to bring you down to your lowest ebb in life. There's this story coming from Guinea. Whoever expected that the former president of Guinea will be seeking permission from the current leader of Guinea before he leave his own country? Nobody ever expected that. So they has this story to say here. They say Alpha Conde has left Conakry for Abu Dhabi. According to our sources, the plane carrying the former Guinean president, a Gulfstream G4, took off from Amr Sekou Touré International Airport in the early afternoon of the 17th January. Alpha Conde obtained permission from Mamadi Doumbouya to leave the country to receive treatment. So the point I'm trying to make here is for him to leave his own country, the country that he served so long, and he even turned old, he has to seek permission. So it's just an advice to some of us who in certain position and feel that there's all to it. You see, now he has to be accompanied by a doctor. He got to seek information. He are getting to understand reality. He getting to know that he's no more president. But that's a lesson learned, though, for some of those other people who in power and believe that they're just going to remain in power and nothing will change, and they are disrespectful and all the kind of other stuff. Let's go to Liberia because we've been talking about Guinea. I know we have more interest when it comes to our own beloved country. Like today, if you're following, you see it's Talk Your Own, Toys Day. I got Tuesday Motivational Hour. I got Thursday Talk Your Own or Speak Your Mind. Sometimes when I'm having other guests, I bring my guests in as well. But don't forget, tomorrow, Friday, we're going to be in conversation with the National Secretary General of the Basel Association in the Americas. He's going to be here tomorrow. This is his picture. His name is Reverend Joseph Davis. He's the National Secretary General of the United Basel Associations in the Americas. He's going to be our guest tomorrow on the Logan's Hour. So today is Talk Your Own. I know I'm going to talk my own. If you feel that I'm stepping on your toes, I'm sorry. If I hurt you in any way, in any form, if I mention you in any way that defame your character, I'm open. The court is open. You can file a lawsuit, defamation of character. But I'm 100% sure I ain't going to reach that far. I can rest assure you. So I got my beautiful princess right here. You want to say hi? Say hi. Come on, say hi. Say hi. Say hello. Say ha ha ha. Thank you, baby. So, like I said, or like I was saying, it's easy to just malign people's character, to say stuff that make no sense for some other reasons. Or it's easy to come up here and have all the adrenaline and burning in you and just say some stuff that make no sense. But I can rest assure you, we're going to stick to the issue. We're going to speak to what is necessary. We're going to be respectful in our conversations. We know not everybody might like it. It depends on which side you're on. We're not going to take side. The first thing I have make it clear that I'm not a member of any political institution first. So it's clear that you know that when I'm speaking from a balanced perspective. I don't speak from a lane perspective or being party driven or sentimentally driven. I speak from an informed background, and I would love to remain in a position where I can exonerate myself on issues just in case if somebody feel hurt. So that's the main topic. And right now in Liberia, I know there are so many juicy news coming from Liberia, and everybody can't wait to everybody like, oh, what's going on in Liberia? What's going on in Liberia? So let's go to the first news here. I think everybody heard this news. So this is a breaking news from Liberia, and it has to do with the Senator Abraham Darros DeLong. I think you all know in good faith, I supported Darros DeLong. It wasn't just that I supported him just by speaking it out. I supported him financially as well. So let me make that clear here. I supported the senator financially, and I supported the senator spiritually, morally, and whatever way you think that people can support people. I did. So my reason for supporting the senator, it wasn't that I wanted to just make another lawmaker. I supported him because I felt his vision, his policy aligned with what I thought or I still believe that Liberia and Liberians are still yearning for. So it was a real great one that we all collectively supported Abraham Darros DeLong. We make him senator. But there's this thing under the law that whatever you say or do, you'll be held liable for your utterances. So over the time, we all follow that Mr. DeLong, when they had a crash up the CPP framework document, Mr. DeLong took to the airwaves. he was on Spoon TV and he was on OKFN justifying that the framework document was tampered with, that Mr. Musa Hassan Bility and Martin Kula and what's the other guy name? They all tampered with the framework document. And because he was so passionate about speaking the way he was speaking, and a lot of people were getting involved with what he was saying. And he said, even if Mr. Bility, then he gave an analogy about a criminal, somebody who doing black money. So he said it's like a person who doing black money, taking the black money and trying to clean it to get a good money. That was an analogy he was trying to present. But in a later date, I think he got carried away. He got carried away seriously. And Mr. DeLeon, in one of his interview, and I think one of his Facebook posts, and he said Mr. Musa Ability is a criminal. He tampered with the framework document. He fingered the framework document. And that, of course, Mr. Ability felt injured by that statement. He felt Mr. DeLeon has tarnished his reputation, has maligned his reputation, had causing a lot of damages. So he filed a lawsuit against Mr. DeLeon for character defamation. So in the lawsuit, Mr. Musa Ability filed against Mr. DeLeon is here. He said he filed Mr. DeLeon for $1 million. Mr. Musa Hassan Ability filed Mr. DeLeon for $1 million. Allegation of calling him Musa Ability a criminal and a fraudster. And for those and people that support Mr. DeLeon, I think what Mr. DeLeon need to do is to do everything possible enough to exonerate himself on this case. Because this is the tricky part of this case. This case is not just somebody sue you and you just run into court to exonerate yourself, but the case has an attachment. And the attachment is requesting for Mr. DeLeon when he appear and want to file a bond. He's going to be filing a bond that is more than the $1 million. So probably Mr. DeLeon going to be filing a bond of $1.5 million. And if found guilty, Mr. DeLeon have to pay. And this money Mr. DeLeon will have to pay, either they're going to sell his property, they're going to go into his bank account, they're going to go to wherever Mr. DeLeon going to have or he have money. So if Mr. DeLeon stand a real chance of either going to jail or either go through restitution, which of course, I know we all don't want to go through that. Trust me. But when it comes to malign people's character, when it comes to character defamation, we all have to be careful what we say out there about people. Even in the United States, things that we post on Facebook, if it is alleged, you have to state it that this is alleged. This case that Mr. DeLeon is joking with, it's not a small case, because Mr. Musa Ability lawyers, they have built up their evidence. They have all the posts from Mr. DeLeon. They have all the recordings from Mr. DeLeon. It's not something that Mr. DeLeon can just take easily. So let's go to Mr. Ability lawyer, Mr. Arthur Johnson, and hear from him shortly. Then we come back to our.
Today, the Consortium of Legal Practitioners Incorporated, the law firm that I head as CEO and senior legal consultant, filed an action of damages for wrong, for libel, and slander by attachment against the Monserrado County Senator, Senator Abraham Darros DeLong, claiming $1 million United States dollars in general damages for his wrongful action and defamation against Ervo and Dr. Musa Hassan Belete. As you all know, Dr. Belete is the chairman of Liberty Party, one of the most popular political parties in the Republic of Liberia. We have filed this action in his interest, on his behalf, on the following grounds. Sometime in December, from December up to January, December 8, 2021 to January 2022, Senator Darros DeLong alleged and accused, defamed, tarnished, stigmatized, and degraded the reputation of Dr. Musa Hassan Belete, and said the following words, quotation: Musa is a criminal and fraudster. And I can prove it. That is what Senator Darros DeLong said against the good earned reputation.
You see, so this is what I'm talking about. So when you hear Mr. Arthur Johnson, who is a lawyer that the rest of the country know, he's very educated, he's very knowledgeable. What he's saying, I can prove these things. You don't take them lightly. So supporters of Mr. DeLong, surrogates of Mr. DeLong, you have to tell Mr. DeLong to engage the situation with real caution, to be very careful, because trust me, if Mr. DeLong is not careful, this might lead him to jail. This might lead him to losing all of his property. Because the first thing about this case is that this case has an attachment. And the attachment clearly means that Mr. DeLong have to give a property equivalent to whatever this lawsuit is. So if this defamation of character is proven in a court, Mr. DeLong might lose his house. So it's very serious. This is no play. This is not somebody sitting somewhere and believe that somebody just trying to blackmail Mr. DeLong. So Mr. DeLong have to take this case very seriously.
Of Musa Hassan Belete. He went further and said that Dr. Musa Hassan Belete is a criminal and that he altered criminally and confessed for his criminal action. For his criminal action by altering the CPPP document. As legal counsels to Dr. Musa Hassan Belete, honor our laws, he came to us and we said that you have an actionable case that you can sue before the court of law, and indeed he can be held accountable. On our laws, when a person makes a statement against your reputation and defames your reputation, sanitizes your reputation, and that statement that he made is false and misleading, and he did it with actual malice, on our laws, you have the right to take the person to court for judicial scrutiny for him to be held accountable for his action. The action of Dr. Musa Hassan Belete to come to court is in line with law. The law says when we say slander, and I will explain what does it mean when we say slander, label, and by attachment. When you make a statement against the reputation of a person and say that this person is a criminal, and that statement is in writing, it was transcribed in print media or electronic media electronic media, and it went nationally or internationally, and it defames your reputation, it tarnishes your reputation, obviously it falls under office of libel. That is written statement that is made by impressing, accusing the another person that the person is a criminal or the person is this person, and to only intended to defame the reputation of the person, and that statement is untrue.
I hope
That constitutes
I hope
libel.
I hope we are
Slander.
listening.
When you orally make a statement in the media, on Facebook, social media, and what have you, that two or more persons hear the statement, and that statement is wrong, and it defames the reputation of the person, it embarrasses the person, it inconveniences the person, it causes emotional distress and mental anguish, then that is an intentional infliction of emotional distress. Under our law, when that statement is being made orally, it is what we call slander. So this is an action of damages for wrong, for libel and slander by attachment. Why we file by attachment? Attachment is when you sue the person, and not to allow them to be going all around free. You are asking the court that this man must pay and show a particular property because the action that you have filed, you will win the case and there will be money compensation. He does not have the money, he goes to jail. If he has the money or he has the property, he must give that property as collateral to the court to guarantee that even when judgment is being made against him, the court will be able to use that collateral as a particular indemnity to the action filed against him. If he is unable, he goes to jail. So the scenario is the law have been sued through an action of damages for wrong, by libel and slander, by attachment. If he is unable to show, as we speak, the sheriffs are on their way to have him arrested and brought under the jurisdiction of the court. This is a civil action, an action that somebody must be here personally accountable for your action. In this country and all over the world, no one makes an irresponsible statement that defames the reputation of another person and must go free. The law says, and even under the International Convention of Human and People's Rights, the UN Convention, it says that people are free to make statements, but when those statements are made, they must be accountable. And that is the theory and the doctrine under our laws, even our Constitution, Article 17. You have the freedom of speech, but you must be accountable for any abuse thereof. Why do we intend to do this? Why do we want to do this according to Dr. Billity? Dr. Billity have said to us the reason that he wants this action to be filed and should be filed against Senator Darius DeLong is simply because Liberia must have a precedent. We need to make our young generation that are growing up, especially those that we lead as leaders, take into consideration Senator Darius DeLong being the senator of Monserrado County, who was elected by the people of Monserrado County. Many young people listen to him, believe in him. Must be somebody that must carry the ethics and the etica of the legislature, specifically the Senate, the House of Elders. So when he makes a statement that is premature, a statement that is irresponsible, a statement that goes against civilized norms of society, the law says he must be called to book and be asked to answer. And so that is the reason we have filed this action on behalf of Dr. Musa Hakan. The action is action of damages for wrong, for libel, and slander by attachment. That is the action that has been filed against Senator Abraham Darius DeLong. Thank you very much.
Probably you want to go ask.
So you hear that for yourself, right? You hear that for yourself. So now we all understand that Mr. DeLong, he has a serious case to address, and Mr. DeLong don't need to take the case lightly, because you see, when you start to take things lightly, it might just end up into what happened with the former defense minister J. Browning Samuka, because now you see J. Browning Samuka will be going to jail. The Supreme Court had ordered him to be sentenced, and Senator Abraham Darrell DeLong, this case that was filed against him from Mr. Musa Ability about defamation of character, it's not something small, because this case carried an attachment. And if Mr. DeLong appear before the court is not going to allow him to go so easily. The first thing the court is going to request from Mr. DeLong that Mr. DeLong have or equivalent at least $1.5 million as bond before he can leave. So I know we all love the guy. He's one of the people that went to the House of Senate and has to change things around. He was the first to disclose the salary in there, but there's still this issue that he have to handle. So this is not just about DeLong today as I'm speaking. It's about all of us because the fight that if you just go on Facebook and just malign somebody's character, say something about a person, and you know that it's untruth, and the person feel that injure their reputation, you could be any part of the world, America, UK, wherever, you can be sued by that person for defamation of character. And that person, if that person sue you for $1 million and has an attachment to that lawsuit, trust me, you're not going to leave the court. The court going to hold you in contempt, and you're going to pay that money. So it's happening to DeLong today. We have to see that as an example because regardless, DeLong's a lawmaker. The law is the law. The only person the law said that cannot go to court while he's in power is the president. The president cannot be sued, but any other lawmaker can be sued. That Article 43 that you see the lawmakers are moving around with saying that when they are in session, they cannot be sued, they cannot be touched. Come on. You can be sued as a lawmaker. That's why the lawsuit carry an attachment. So the next thing, if Mr. Dillon do not show up to the court, because I think it's gone 3 days or 2 days now, Mr. Dillon hasn't show up. If it go 3 or 4 days and Mr. Dillon don't show up, they're going to order a writ of arrest. And that writ of arrest, it will go by any common lawmaker or any police officer, whether you're private, whether you're sergeant, whether you just PPO. And they say arrest the living body of Mr. Dillon. Anywhere somebody saying they're going to have him arrested. So though he's a reputable person, he's an honorable man that everybody know. But I think for we that stay on the fence, all we need to do is to again be careful as to what we post about people or what we say about people when it comes to the media. Because anything you say that is on a recording today, you cannot just take it back easily. That person going to use that recording against you in court. It could be in the United States. It could be in Liberia. It could be wherever you are. You can get sued by your peer group. Like today, you just go on Facebook and write something about me that injure my character, and I feel it embarrasses me. It damages my reputation. I can sue you for $2-3 million and add an attachment to that. And the judge going to grant me. So though it happening to Mr. DeLong, but we all have to be very careful as to what we post out there about people, especially if you don't have the right information. If you're quoting somebody, put that you're quoting somebody. If it is alleged, state it that it is alleged. But if you're 100% saying it as the fact, you can be held liable for whatever thing. So I'm asking Mr. DeLong to be very respectful of the court, show up to the court, and whatever the law says, that's what the law says. But I think he's going to learn from this. Next time, he's just going to be careful how he speak. So in other news, there's the big one that came out today. Mr. Brani J. Samoka, Mrs. Brani J. Samoka, the Supreme Court of Liberia has sentenced former Defense Minister Brani Samoka and 2 co-defendants to 2 years imprisonment for failing to comply with the court mandate of paying 50% of their liabilities at a time frame stipulated. You see that? So Mr. Brani Samoka and his 2 co-defendants, they were to pay some money that the court said they had some liabilities to address when it comes to the court. But the failure to comply with the court to pay the 50%, the court have ordered them to go to jail for 2 years. 2 years. So the court said here, they said, well, the Supreme Court ordered Mr. Brani Samoka in order to jointly pay 50% of the sum of US $573,828.15. So the thing is, Mr. Brandon Samuka and his own surrogates, they never understood what the code already saying, but they never went back to the code for interpretation. So Mr. Samuka split the $573, $573,828 into two and pay his 50%, which of course the code said, no, you make a mistake. It should have been for every one of you. So Brandon Samuka will be going to jail. Brandon Samuka will be going to jail for 2 years. And former defense minister going to jail for 2 years. Imagine, man. Imagine that. I know even me that here today, when you ask me, do you want for Brandon Samuka to go to jail? I would say no. But my point is, the law is the law. Whatever the law says, we have to abide by the law. Because if Mr. Brandon Samuka took money that was not his, and the president told him to do so, I think Mr. Samuka have to better justify. If Mr. Samuka cannot justify and he's being held liable, yes, Mr. Samuka should go to jail because the money belonged to the soldiers. It was for a pensioner. And when the president, he should have asked, because the former president, she was no more president, she should have come to testify that, yes, I instructed Brandon Samuka. Because under the law, there's something they call superior respondent. Those of you that are working in corporate America, whatever happened in my department, if I'm the head, I take the blame. So in this case, if Madam Sedi told Mr. Samuka to use the soldiers' money for preparation in Mali, and Mr. Samuka did, Mr. Samuka should have asked the court to subpoena the former president to come and testify in his defense. But notwithstanding, Mr. Samuka never did. Now, Mr. Samuka will be going to jail. Brandon Samuka will be going to jail for 2 years. Former defense minister, I know it's sad. Some of us don't want to hear that, but it is sad. And if that's what the law says, yes, the law is the law. If the law says Mr. Samuka should go to jail for 2 years, Mr. Samuka should go to jail for 2 years. And with full restitution, so if possible. But this is another side of the story too. Not just Mr. Samuka going to jail. But regardless, Mr. Samuka is going to jail. Mr. Samuka stay on obligation to pay the money he's owed. So the law is so to the point where you can want to try to say, well, sending putting him to jail, then he shouldn't pay the money again. But you have to go to jail and you have to pay the money. So I feel for Mr. Samuka. I know what he's going through right now in your head. Former defense minister. You that have all the authority, all the power. Now you have to be going to jail for restitution, for money that you never ate on your own. You were instructed by the president of the Republic of Liberia to use, and she agreed that she was to pay that money back. Now, who's in the hot water? Mr. Samuka. Mr. Samuka is in this hot water. And trust me, Mr. Samuka, you have to be very careful with this case too. But after all the hard talk, all the strong talk, all the holding your position, and acting proud, and yelling and speaking all the big grammar, $1 million is not a small money, especially if you're not in government or you do not have institution that you can generate those monies from. But Mr. Samuka have only one person who can come to his aid at this critical time. And that person is His Excellency, Dr. Bekugbe Mane Tapewia. Because Mr. President have the clemency power. He has the power to pardon the former defense minister, to issue a clemency or executive clemency, overriding the court decision that Mr. Brandon Samuka be set free. But how can that happen? How Mr. Brandon Samuka can get himself to be set free? When Mr. Brandon Samuka go to the president and fall to his feet and say, Mr. President, yeah, save me. I can't go through this pain alone. I can't go in the water alone. There are almost 40,000 people in Lofa County that voted for me. Their hope and aspirations have been dashed. Now I'm about to go to jail. Election is 2023. I'm a former defense minister. Are you going to save this image of this country? Are you going to save me? But will Mr. Brandon Samuka do that? Should Brandon Samuka do that? I have talked my own. The number will be right here to call. And when you call, you can also talk your own. Should Brandon Samuka go to jail? But this is the tricky part of the whole Brandon Samuka thing, though. It's a little funny, but it's not too funny. Mr. Samuka and his two colleagues that were involved into this whole soldier people money, his colleagues are left. Both, I know, Yuma Double and the other person, the other the country. They fled. Because they knew what was to be the outcome. To give $1 million after you're not in power, it's not something easy. But Mr. Samuka was so confident. He was overconfident. He really felt that this case was going to be some charade. Some other cases where at the end of the day, it's just going to die down. Trust me. That's why Mr. Samuka really felt that after a few days, Liberian people, the case will just die down and we're not hear about it anymore. But now it has reached the point that the only person that can help Brandon Samuka right now is the president. And the former vice president really need Mr. Samuka for this campaign. Because Mr. Samuka won the election in Lofa County. And it has proven that Mr. Samuka is a heavyweight in Lofa County. Will Mr. Samuka become a political buka that the opposition will really need and the ruling party will really need? That's a question. The number will be right here. You can call and talk your own. I talk in my own. I think Mr. Samuka will become an opposition or imposition or even join the ruling position. Yeah, it's why. Going to jail for 2 years or cannot solve the problem. Even Mr. Samuka said for 2 years in prison, he's still going to be able to pay the money back. He can't just pay $2 million or whatever money he's supposed to pay back so easily. And when you turn to everybody in opposition to generate that 1 million plus, they cannot help you. Mr. Benedict Uri cannot afford to take $1 million for his money to take you out of the water and you pay back gradually. Mr. Alexander Cummings cannot do it because the fact that he know you have pledged your support to Mr. Joseph Yuma Boakai. But Ayobli Kanga, she just a lawmaker. She's senator. How much she have? She didn't even get maybe 300,000. Ibrahim Daros DeLong. Even you put all the lawmakers together combined, they cannot help. If they should have help, then that should have been a long time. So it's this era that Mr. Samuka found himself that he just found himself now. He's conflicted with the whole situation. Should Mr. President pardon Mr. Samuka? Should he use his power, his clemency power, that when he leave power come after 2023 to say that, yes, I used my executive clemency. Should the president do that? But if the president do use the executive clemency power to set Mr. Samuka free and Mr. Samuka go and have all his rights restored to him and become the next lawmaker for the people of Lofa County, would that serve as a deterrent? Would that be a bad example for other people who will corrupt the system and just walk scot-free? Impunity becomes the order of the day. Should Mr. Samuka be incarcerated so it should serve as an example? Or should the president allow Mr. Samuka to serve the first 1 year in prison and come up with the executive clemency later on? But would that be too late for Mr. President because 2023 is right by the corner? Mr. Samuka is in a real tough one. Should Mr. Samuka go to Mr. Bwaka and ask Mr. Bwaka to use his wisdom and accompany him to the president? Should the opposition committee set a whole committee to go to the president and ask him to pardon one of their top guy, Mr. Brownie J. Samuka? Should the Lofa County caucus put themselves together instead of protesting and having unnecessary protests and go and meet the president now and say, Mr. President, this is the time we have come to you. Our son. Because the first thing about the Supreme Court ruling, the Supreme Court, they are the higher court in the land. So whatever the Supreme Court says, you cannot appeal the Supreme Court decision. You cannot appeal. Mr. Samuka cannot appeal that decision. So at the end of the day, if Mr. Samuka are proud with this situation, he's going to go to jail. Should he go to jail? I can't say yes. I can say no. Should this case serve as a deterrent for other who be corrupt lawmakers or politicians? I'll say yes. Should Mr. Samuka go to the president to ask the president to use his power for clemency to issue his own? The boy is on his coat. But should we allow lawmakers to be eating money or government officials to be taking $2-3 million and eating it, and while our children are crossing Keno to go to school on a daily basis? It's sad. Because when you go back and see some of the stories that are out there, see children crossing the Farmington River in Keno to go to school. Future generations, they have not been cared for. They are in Keno, crossing, and they have no adult to pay that canoe. There are no protective jacket. They are all being left vulnerable. But one government official can sit down and take $2-3 million. I'm not angry. I'm saying it because this is wrong. Watch this video and see, just for a second, and see if this were you or your children.
Magibi County, and at the bank, the farm where kids from Zaka Town and Grand Basso have to access this water every day in order to get to school. So we intend to highlight the danger these young kids face every time in order to get under the Farmington River every morning and every afternoon to get to school and from school. Let me talk to the first speaker one. Hello, what is your name? Tumite who? Tumite? What is your age? 17. So where do you live?
Now you see what I'm talking about. So I'm sounding the way I'm sounding because I know children, they are struggling, risking their lives. Look back there. See the person who paid in the canoe. See the little baby up there. See the rest of the children. See the rest of the future generations. They are in canoe with all protective jacket. Where is that canoe sink right now? What's going to happen? We're just going to see it as another case like, oh God, innocent lives have been lost. Lost because of what? Because of negligence. Things that we could have easily solved. Problems that we could have solved. But now there are no, there are very few people who throwing light on these things. Very, very few people. The rest of the other people just talking about how government officials and the rest of their families are enjoying, and a few people just suffering. Look at the innocent children crossing canoe. Imagine that's your child. Imagine your children sitting in canoe, crossing canoe to go to school. See them every day. Imagine you start from your first grade. You start going to school in this kind of extreme difficult situation. You have to cross this canoe, cross the river every day with one of your colleagues pairing this canoe. God forbid excuse. When something happened one day, what do you expect? It's just another story. Follow this story and see how sad it is.
But when others have to every morning get into the to access school. Yes. So what is the danger you face? The river. So are you the one pairing the canoe or what? So who controls the canoe? The captain. You pay money to him. Let me talk to you. Hello. What is your name? Mongo J. Mongo J, what class you in? You in the tech. So where do you live? Zakastan. Zakastan is in Grand Bassa, right? Yeah. So you come from there to come to school? Yeah. So what's the process you follow? You get in the kino every day to come? Yeah. So who guides you to cross the river every time? Who can hold your hand to bring you from Zakata? Your man. Your man pay money to the men like that, you know? So what I want to say, because I know because school to your area, I want to make it you're coming to Magibi to school. Eh? So what I want to say to the people from Grand Bassa County about paying school for you. You want to say my bear school? All right. So let's move. The folks you can see this is family time.
You see that?
The kids have to make their way every time. Sometimes I'm told that when the adults now around, they themselves get on this river and in the kingdom to get themselves to school every time. Let me talk to the woman with the there. How you doing? Hello?
So this is so sad. This is so sad. Imagine the young children. Even in the United States, you have to be of certain age before you can try to even drive a vehicle. These kind of hard, difficult realities. But we're sitting there, and every time each of our lawmakers will pass in the budget and take $30,000 home. We are not seeing those things. We are not even highlighting the innocent children that are over the river, coming from one area to another area to go to school. The education system have not been decentralized. We cannot find public schools in every corner of Liberia. See those children crossing the river. That should be a serious national concern. To see those babies are crossing the river. But all we're concerned about, before you enter Liberia, you might pay $75 for your COVID test. And when you're going back, you might pay $75 because your COVID result and the way they see your skin hot, it seems like you have COVID. Hey, man, let's handle this. See the babies I just show you right now. See these babies. See the person that paying the keynote right there. She's not even 16 years old. Imagine when she's faced with difficult situation, has to make decision. What do you think going to be her decision? Everybody going to get thrown in the water. And what happened to the children that don't have even life jacket? We're only going to sit there and be doing, oh God, the government's so wicked. The government don't care for us. They're taking 45, 50 million, putting in the budget for themselves. Look at the just gone budget that is still being debated. The president have increased his budget. Vice president increased her budget. Lawmakers increasing their budgets. But see those babies crossing the river, no life jacket. What it would take if the government just put a ferry right there or an easy low means of crossing the river instead of giving one person that is 7,000 for stationary. Can we solve this problem? Can we stop being so insensitive? We need people who far-sighted, who thinking to come to government. We want people with the same arcade thinking that believe it's business as usual. And what you saying there too, it's been at that since rack or ages, so it just have to be like that. Is that how we want to be? See those babies travel to other places. Madam said he boasts of building 220 schools. George Weah administration is boasting of building 100 plus schools. Can we see them? No. By putting the building, is that school you have built? Has the curriculum been scrutinized? Is the government curriculum going to all of the 15 political subdivisions? Is the teachers in Liberia have been well trained and tested? In some of the rural areas, in some of the communities, you find somebody who just graduated from high school teaching children that are already in high school. Because the government believes they can be everywhere. But let's decentralize some of these things. Why you can try to digitize some of these things. You don't have to be going there every time. Make the environment enabling for everybody. Our children are no second class to the point where when you take your child from the United States or other places, your children in Liberia feel inferior to them, call them the rich people children, and even to the point that if they try to play, the children in Liberia cannot even play with the children that you take from overseas because they feel that they are off class and they are second class because of their lifestyle. So children who born out of the mommy womb, babies, be confronted with life realities. See the United States today. When your baby is born today, free health care. Then they have WIC. Start giving your babies free food until the baby is 2 years old. Public schools are free of charge. To the point where the government even tried to incentivize, to help the parents, single mothers and other people, to give them stop paying every month to help with the upkeep of their children. See Liberia, they have stimulus package. Today, the stimulus package just no head, no tail. The justification for that, they went to investigate and they found that some of the money were given to people, businesses with all addresses. Liberia problems, it's an age-old problem. But are we going to lie to just remain age-old problem? It can be changed. Young people have to think differently. That's why anytime I come here, I always speak to young people because they have vision. They can see. They have the ability to be innovative. You stop thinking. Mediocrity is what killing us. We settle for little of nothing because we feel, oh, my whole life is to find food to eat today, and that's it. You just want to eat? What happened to your brothers and your sister who's just right next door and dying from starvation and don't even have means of going to school, children crossing in canoe? What are our lawmakers? Why are we thinking about moving into a point where Liberia have to be more different from the rest of the world, or Liberia have to compare with the rest of the world? Our lawmakers are still voting to accept something that long time no part of the world people do it. Even I remember when it comes to the impeachment of Donald Trump, every lawmaker will have to state your position. But Liberia today, look at the news I came from Liberia today. They say senators have voted against an amendment to the Senate standing rules on voting openly for or against the confirmation of officials nominated by the president of the Republic of Liberia and subject to confirmation proceeding. So they agree that being on record, everybody should be accounted for whatever it says. The lawmaker said, we won't go back to or in favor say yay or in favor say nay. At the end of the day, you are right, Mr. Charleston. You are so right, Mr. Charleston. Mr. Charleston said these children need schools on each side of that river in each community. That river is very dangerous during the rainy season. I know that river. Yes, Mr. Charleston. That's a terrible thing here. See the little babies. See them. Let me just play it again so you can just see them. They interviewing them.
What is the name?
Look at the babies.
Asatu. Asatu class in. You how many years old?
12.
You're 12 years old. So you come every day to school here. So what do we pass? On Farmington. What the reason why you leave from Grand Bassa to come to Magibi every time to school?
You hear that? The children have to leave from Magibi, cross over the Farmington River every day to come to Magibi because they don't have school in their community, in their town where they came from. But we can sit down. One lawmaker can put in the budget for himself and call it District Development Fund and take $30,000 and put it in his account. Is this the Liberia we want to see? Look at the babies. Look at their faces. There's no kind of a means of encouraging you. You're growing in a country that you have no hope. You just believe that just going to school, whatever the future is, that's what the future is. There's no hope. Look at the babies. If you even ask any of them there, what do you want to be? They look at the environment, look at the circumstances around them, and just say, I just want to be whoever God says I'm going to be. What if you're a little child, you're going to bed? Every day you say to yourself, I want to be a defense minister. I want to be a president. I want to be a medical doctor. Those kind of things children dream about because your dreams are your vision. That's why God showed your vision to you before you even grows up. But look at the babies crossing Farmington River. If you imagine you're in first grade and crossing that river, and the curriculum year runs from, I don't know, July or when to September or something of the following year. So it means the children are going to cross the water for about 6 months, every day from Monday to Friday with all government attention. There was something happening with yelling. It's like what happened in West Point or Nukutown the other day. There was some remnants. There's something similar happened before like that. But we know it because nobody have died from that. Like the water the children crossing right now, nobody have died from this water yet. Or in capsat to see innocent children living on the water. So government don't care. Or they believe, but the children going to school. They're supposed to be grateful they're going to school. No child supposed to be grateful because they're going to school in this kind of a condition. It is their right to education. That's why you as a child, you belong to the state. If my pa or my mom cannot send me to school, the state is on an obligation to send me to school. So sometimes, like what happened here with Mr. Brownie Samuka, if you ask me, I will tell you clearly, the law is the law. If there's restitution, Mr. Brownie Samuka have to pay, he have to pay. If you have to go and beg the president to pardon him for executive clemency, that's him. He can choose what you want. But these babies, they are my concern. Look at them. Imagine your child in this kind of situation. Imagine your parents bringing you to the water and letting you to get in the kingdom because there's no way out. Do you think a real parent want to bring his child or her child to this water and let you to get in kingdom while you see your fellow student paying this kingdom to cross the water? You think you're satisfied to see your 9-month getting in a canoe to cross the water? Well, you have no choice. But the problem here is you, the people, lawmakers now, they are playing lackadaisical attitude. They are laying back. They don't care. They don't care. They're waiting. They believe that you Liberian people, you believe in optical illusion. What you see is what you believe. So they're waiting. Few days to election, they start building hand pumps. They start building schools. Then you fall for it. Then you, your parents that reach the voting age, start yelling all over the street. Your Leo, that the mayor will want. Your Leo, that the mayor will want. Let's think differently. Liberia belongs to every one of us. Liberia is not just for one group of people. So some of them who just believe Liberia belongs to them, we have to fight it. You see today, what is all around now about Zogos, that's something that has been happening a long time. The government in power, they had 6 years. They came to power 2017. They could have tried to address some of these situations before it escalated. The government played cool. The government kept blaming. Every little thing the government sent a blame game. Oh, it happened during Seli time. Seli should have faced it. Why Seli never face it? Now, what do you think happening? It has escalated. The government now try to find diversionary tactics, thinking that if we just trying to blame games, people are going to have sympathy with us. The issue of Zogos, it got nothing to do with playing sympathy with that. Zogo is a serious national security threat to our country. And it really have to be addressed. We can't ignore the situation that has to do with Zogos. We cannot. We can. We sit down in a country where over 170 years, things cannot change. President come to power, pass a law. Lawmakers and other people in the country just violate those laws and don't even care about the Liberian people. Look at the other day at the DEA, officers of the DEA. He said because somebody stole his phone, your fellow individual, your fellow Liberian citizen stole your phone. What he did? He arbitrarily took the law into his own hand and tried to beat another Liberian citizen. Only because he said the brother took his phone. This is graphic, so viewer discretion is advised. You see here? Another Liberian beating your fellow Liberian. Only because you said the man stole your phone. At the end of the day, what we got from that? Oh, the man have been suspended. He was forwarded to professional standard division. Is that how we're going to be? Is that how the country going to be built? Is that how when next people leave power, the other people come to power, it's the same old thing, nothing can change? We have to try to change this situation. We have to change these narratives. It cannot just be business as usual. Every time one group of corrupt people leave, another batch of corrupt people come. Why can't we be innovative? Why can't we have a Paul Kagame of Rwanda? When you're talking about benevolent dictator, that's what we're talking about. Give the people what they want. Let the people feel the impact of the government. Let it feel your present. But at the end of the day, we get on the sun. We wear red, yellow, green t-shirt and scream, whoa, whoa, whoa. At the end of the day, what do we get from them? We get business as usual. I'm sorry if you have never heard me talk the way I talk. There are some things that get you so angry to the point where you just want to strangle somebody for just keeping the rest of the other people in agile poverty. This needs to stop. We cannot always treat our people the way we are treating them. If tomorrow is election or next week is election, watch me. See 2023, what's going to happen. You're going to see politicians coming down to the common people, sitting on the floor in communities to eat with you and pretend that they will always do that. But when you put into power, what happened? They leaves. Next, they come up saying, the truck that you used to haul the sand to build a mansion, when the mansion is built, that truck no longer passes in front of the mansion. That's how they treat with the Liberian people. When they want your vote, they call you masses. Oh, we're doing it for the masses. Oh, we have to do it for the masses. We have to build school for the masses. But when they are elected, they take the M and call you asses. This time around, 2023, I ain't going to sit here and tell you who to vote for. Shine your eyes. Look between the candidates. There will be senators. There will be lawmakers. You see, we always focus on who to represent us in terms of the presidency. That's key. But your first and foremost concentration should be who represents you as your representatives. For example, Maserati. Maserati has 17 districts. And each of those 17 districts have one representative. And on those representative, representing over 33,000 people for each constituency. So, if the person who you're sending to represent you cannot adequately represent you, it means nothing. Like some of the other people you find in the House of Parliament, like I really don't like to call names, but sometimes you have to call names. What have you heard Madam Kawa saying? The chief of Zoe's wife. Have you heard her speak before? Boto Kanen. Pape Flomo. The other day, Ara came up with a report, and it saw there were a whole lot of them. They are all Bobo lawmakers. And every lawmaker have 3 cardinal responsibilities: lawmaking, oversight, and representation. So if a lawmaker do not understand any of his functions as a lawmaker, your whole district is dark. You'd be looking for divine help when you elected people who you know cannot do the work for you. Sometimes we are our own problem. And we have to stop electing unrighteous people and demanding righteousness from them. Are we going to keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results? Liberia belongs to every one of us. Liberia is not anybody's mind or the power farm that you can sit down and call yourself more Liberian than another person. Whether the person live in the diaspora or the person live in Liberia, you are not more Liberian than the other person. This is a boat of rest that we all have to eat together and share equally. If you take one spoon, allow me to take one spoon. Why should you feel so entitled that your pa and your mom left Liberia for you as your inheritance? So to the point where I have no stake, I can't say nothing. When I'm saying something, you feel my voice is irrelevant to the happenings of Liberia and Liberians today. Who are you, by the way, to question my Liberianness? We can do so many things together when we unite and fight these monies. There's so many things going on that are not right. We can do it. Liberia belongs to all Liberians. Why should we always just sit and just believe that we are second-class Liberians? And two, things always happen before people come in. Like what happened in Nuclear Town. You saw people running out. You saw the innocent babies crossing the river. Nobody talking about it. Front page Africa highlighted it the other day. The government haven't taken seize of the matter. They see it as, yeah, it is what it is. And so what? Tomorrow, when Kingdom capsized, then they will have all the GoFundMe around here. The thing that you have done long time, they will have all the GoFundMe now, seeking support, seeking help. Now they will start saying from every corner, looks and cranny, that, yeah, children need help. Oh, you need to help. And innocent children, they don't have school fees and they don't have those school there. Now, desperate appearance, because they feel that you got some tree here where when they shake the tree, the money can fall down. They start playing on your consciences. Oh, yeah, you need to help. Oh, you're in America, there you need to help. Oh, you're in Europe and places you need to help. But now, they see in the situation, they are all in on it. Nobody do anything about it. Everybody see it as business as usual. It's normal. Lawmakers adding 30,000 to the budget or to whatever funds. It's normal. When you're talking about it, they call you noisy minority. Today, we're thinking that there will be a better future to solve all of these problems. I'm optimistic that there will be a better future. Why I'm optimistic? Because Liberians, they are resilient. They always go to the pool to vote. And in much you always go to the pool to vote, there's change going to come one day. The moment they relax and feel tired and feel complacent in their attitude, it means change will not come. Persistency bring change. Getting involved, fighting to change it. It's going to change. But things will never change until you get angry. Anger brings change. You see a man who sit home every day, watch TV, hold a remote in your hand, and unemployed, and believe there's lion out there. When he get out, the lion going to eat him. One day he'll reach a point where when he have no food in the house and believe that I'm going to find food today. There's change going to come that very day. Liberians out there today, listen to my voice. Oh, listen to my voice, leader. Live in Liberia or wherever places find yourself today. Believe change going to come. But take that individual approach. Talk to somebody. Educate our people. No baby should be getting up and worrying about life the next day. Children should be getting up and believe that the future is bright. See children in the United States here today or in other places of the world. They only get up and tell their mom and the past, say, Mama, I want this. They don't care how you're going to get it, but that's what I want. Children in Liberia, they have getting so used to the suffering to the point where you really want to ask your parents, you have to feel for your parents because you know your parents' condition. No child should be feeling that way. Every child should get up and believe that my mom or my pa can do it for me. But the Liberians people themselves, they have gotten so used to the kind of lifestyle, used to politicians lying to them, to the point where they just believe they are gotten so accustomed. They have this stuck on syndrome that it is what it is. Nothing we can do about it. We can do something about it. We can go to the pools. We can change our leaders if we are dissatisfied with them. That's what the Constitution says. The first page of the Constitution. They say all power is inherent in the people. And you have one great power that the lawmaker wants from you. That is your voting right. Your right to vote. That power comes to you after every 6 years or even in by-elections. Do you just want to say it and allow somebody to get you white t-shirt and cold rice and put $10 in your pocket, and you go and squander those opportunities that you have to change your leaders, to elect good leaders for tomorrow. You got lawmakers that don't even know how to even check an email. You got lawmakers who don't even know how to turn a computer on. But now we're talking about we're in the 21st century. We want Liberia look like Europe. How can Liberia look like Europe when the people minds, the people that you have, the minds, their thinking faculty, they are not innovative. They do not they do not see beyond. They see what is right around them. They are mediocre. You see lawmakers sit right in its seat and don't even discuss the issue. They don't even have the time to go and sit home and read. Like the other day, I was discussing the issue of the president annual message here. And the president said, when he was speaking to his wife, Madam Cloud Duncan, he said, I have learned from a reliable source that Madam Duncan is thinking about donating the building in Buchanan to the Liberian government. And another brother who support the president agenda, the PAPD, came up here and said, was that in the president's speech? It surely clear to me that the brother never read the president's speech. And everybody who out there that never read the president's speech, it's about time that you go and take those 70 pages and read them. It's interesting when you read them. When the president was speaking those 2 hours, it was just noisy. We couldn't get what he was saying. But when you go and read those lines that the president was discussing, you would know that, yeah, there are some things the president said in this speech, and I never heard them. But notwithstanding, you are on the Logan's Hour. Thank you for always joining us. Tutu McCarthy, Jan Volule, Fatima Fambule, Mr. Charleston, Celine, Valentino, and the rest of the folks who always make it their duties. Robert Ellington. This is a Liberia issue. We cannot always sit here and let things just be the way it is. Let people fool you every time, put you in one box. 2 years to the end of the time. Then they come, they know you believe in optical illusion, they start building hand pumps. Thank you for following. Also, we'll take a short commercial break and be back in just 5 seconds. Thank you for always being on the Logan's Hour as well. Thank you. So welcome back to the Logan's Hour. So I have said mine today called Talk Your Own. So the number is pinned out here. You can call and say your own. So the number to call here tonight is 401-359-5072. We talk about Mr. Ibrahim Darius DeLone. We talk about Mr. Brownie Samuka. And we talk about those children out in the kingdom crossing the water, crossing the Farmington River to go to school. That the government of Liberia are not even taking those children to serious consideration. They just allow innocent babies to cross water and pay their own kingdom and go to school. But imagine you tomorrow when it happened to one of the government officials, children, it's going to be breaking news. But today, because it's my wata, my yata, sons and daughters, it doesn't matter. But I can say this to you today. One soul that you lose is equivalent to the president. One baby who will lose their life today is equivalent to the life of the president. The rich man, the poor man, we all have one thing in common. That is, we have equal number of days or time to live. You have 24 hours. I have 24 hours. You are no better than me. So let's look out for the rest of the people. Minority of the people can just be enjoying that kind of a saying in Liberia that if you're not part of the elite class, then just go find yourself somewhere to say it. Few people, when they are appointed in government, they don't care about the rest of the people. This is sad. This needs to change, and we cannot keep doing this. So because of time factor, it's already 7:33, 7:38. We'll not be taking call anymore. But I want to say thank you for following us. Thank you for always following us. I appreciate everyone. Look forward to having you here tomorrow because we're going to have the Grand Bazaar Association people here. So um, thank you for always being my guest. Let's make Liberia all Liberians proud. Liberia is all we have. There's no where we can go and enjoy as to the way we will enjoy our own country. Liberia is the only country we cannot be deported from. Credit to Mr. Ibrahim Dara Delon for that. And let's do things differently. We can keep doing the same thing and expecting different results. So thank you for being on the Logan's Hour. Thank you for following. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. And thank you. Have a good night and make sure your doors are locked. Peace.